Welcome, beautiful Gemsters. Thank you so much for tuning in to another segment here on Gems Podcast. With me today in the hot seat is Tiffany Obeng, and I'm going to tell you a little bit more about who Tiffany is before we dive into a fun-filled conversation. And if you're like me and you're a note taker, make sure you get out your notes so you can take some pointers down because you never know when we may ask you a pop question. So, Tiffany Obeng is a lawyer and DEO professional of nearly 15 years. Tiffany became inspired to join the diversity and inclusion movement after taking her first employment law class in 2008. Tiffany was fascinated by articles and daunting statistics highlighting the lack of diversity in law, particularly for Black women. You could definitely say that again, Tiffany. Tiffany works as an employment discrimination attorney, and her career track includes 6 years as a senior employee opportunity advisor for a prominent higher education institution. Tiffany has now found a unique, nuanced way to tackle diversity in the workplace. Children's books. Through books such as popular kids' career books, Andrew learns about lawyers. Tiffany hopes to inspire a new generation of diverse lawyers. Her book has been a staple for her career days in Jack and Jill's organization's Law Day event. So that's just a little bit about Tiffany, but we're going to welcome on this powerhouse, this trailblazer, this woman, this shero, Tiffany Obeng. How are you?
I am great. And thank you for that introduction. This is the year 2024 where I said I'm not going to hide from the sun. I'm going to stand in the sun. I'm going to stand in the light. I'm going to accept applause. I'm going to accept achievements or accolades or whatever the words are. So thank you so much.
My pleasure. And I absolutely love authors who not only take their corporate hat, but they also pivot and put something else out there for others to use. And it's kind of like your book is your business card in a sense, because instead of passing out business cards, you could like, hey, have you checked out my book? And the only reason why I said that is because a hidden fact about me is I actually wrote a book back in 2020, Chocolate Drop in Corporate America, From the Pit to the Palace, to just kind of talk about what I went through in corporate America and being that chocolate drop in the oil and gas industry and not really having that many. So kudos to you for all the numerous books you have out there. And I want to dive in by doing an icebreaker, whether we're going to do a rapid fire 10 question game or a true icebreaker. So what are you in the mood for?
Oh my gosh. I don't know, girl.
Let's do some rapid fire because I'm a bit nosy and I know the Gemsters are too. So let's play this 10 question game. You got to be quick with it, girl. So here we go, y'all. We're playing rapid fire with Tiffany and Genesis. Do. Question number 1. What made you want to go to law school?
Okay. So what made me want to go to law school, the short of it is I was always told I was going to be a lawyer, from my mom to my grandparents to whoever, teachers, whoever came across me were like, you're going to be a lawyer. I didn't really know what that was, but they said it. And so I internalized it. And so I knew one way, or the main way to become a lawyer is you had to go to law school. That's why I went to law school.
Question 2. You're in your zone, you're rocking out to your tunes. What are you listening to?
Oh, that's good. I don't know. I'm not really a music person, like rocking out, but I guess I do like to choose, depending on the day, Special by Lizzo, In Case Nobody Told You Today. Of course, I'm in Texas, so Beyonce all day, So that's probably what I'm currently listening to.
Okay. Since you're a Beyonce fan, let me ask you this. Let's see if the Beehive will give you that stamp of bees. Did you go to the Beyonce concert when she was here in Houston?
Yeah.
Okay. Question 4. Name one of your favorite places that you've traveled to.
Oh my gosh. So Jamaica has a special part in my heart, maybe because it was one of the first places I traveled out of the country. Is that accurate? That's probably not accurate. The first place I traveled was Paris, France, or somewhere in the UK as well. But anyway, Jamaica has a special part in my heart. I just love the vibe there. The days seem like they are endless. Everybody's just so chill, man. And it's just a great time. So Jamaica is one of my favorite places to go.
Okay, I like that. I'm a Caribbean girl. I'm West Indian and Curaconian. So 5. Okay, you just won the lottery. Cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching. However, you must donate to 3 charities of your choice before your proceeds are released. What charities are you donating to?
That's good, girl. So probably like something that can help the pipeline. So I'm thinking like organizations that help kids stay in school. So Literacy Now would be a place where they help them with literacy, which helps you stay in school. So Literacy Now, J.L. Turner Legal Association, and what would be another one that is so good? I can't think of the third one right now, but it would be something along those lines.
Okay. Question 6. What's your favorite color?
Pink or purple.
Okay. Question 7. What is your drink of choice, alcoholic or non-alcoholic?
Ah, so I have to say that last year, because I don't drink liquids a lot, and that includes water, and don't judge me, but I'm not like a water drinker or a liquid drinker, right? So last year I was like, in order to make sure I get enough water in, I have to drink at least 4 bottles of water, 16-ounce bottles of water before I can enjoy libation. So I'm gonna say alcohol is my preference.
Okay. And we're on question 8. Keep me honest here. So, question 8. What is your favorite food or cuisine?
Um, my favorite food or cuisine. I don't know. My kids are eating pizza every Friday. I'm sure you're about to go get pizza now. So I'm just gonna say pizza.
Pizza. Okay. Question 9. Would you rather a dream home, dream car, or hell? Let's go big and have both.
Of course, both, but probably a house, a dream house. Yeah.
Okay. And question 10, it is our bonus question. And this is where the roles could be reversed if you want to. So you can either pass or play. And here are the rules. If you pass, you ask me a question. If you play, I ask one last question to wrap up rapid fire. So are we passing or playing, girl?
I'm gonna pass.
Okay. You're in the hot seat. What's your question for me?
My question for you, I'm curious to know, are you an alcohol or non-alcohol person? I'm trying not to be by myself on this.
So I definitely love me some good alcohol. I'm a hands down margarita drinker, but since I am expecting, I cannot have any. And for anyone who knows me, like since I'm Caribbean, I do not like watered down drinks. So if I go out, like I'm very particular where I order drinks from because I'm not about to pay $12 or more for a watered down alcoholic beverage.
That part.
So thanks for playing rapid fire, Tiffany. Now let's dive into what you're doing now. I know you have several books out on the market. So let's talk about how it all got started. And I know it was around Andrew Learns About Lawyers. I think that was the first one, right?
No, that wasn't the first one. It was the third.
Ooh, okay. What was the first one? Bust my myth.
So the very first book that I published, which is also the very first book in the Andrew Learns About career book series, is Andrew Learns About Actors.
Okay. So let's dive in there because why the name Andrew, first of all?
So Andrew is my son. so,
Oh, okay.
so the books or the career books are named after him and have his likeness.
Okay.
Yep, this bottom row right behind my head. That's Andrew's likeness and his name.
Oh, that's so sweet. So like he's in part of the legacy too, because like
Of
you're
course, yes.
so now with him learning about actors, did he want to go down the acting path or were you just trying to introduce it to him?
Correct. So what had happened was back when I went to publish, me and my son, he was 4 at the time. So we both love reading. We read every night, we read all the time, together, separately, whatever. And we both love TV and film and things of that sort. So like we're both very engaged in it. We will talk with it, we will play with it, we'll run around. And so one day the thought came to my head when he was running around with his TV characters, like, does he understand that these TV characters are played by actors? Like, they're not real. And if he doesn't understand that, how do you explain that? And then at the same time, how do you also let your child know that this is something that they can aspire to become? So I had all those concepts or factors that I wanted to kind of explain. And so that's how Andrew Learns About Actors came to be, in me trying to tackle that. And then it became really important when our beloved Chadwick Boseman, who played Black Panther, passed away. So yeah, that's how that came about.
Oh, nice. So then Andrew Learns About Acting, inspired by your son, and then let's talk about the rest of the series because Andrew learns about a lot.
So yes, he has learned about a lot and he will continue to learn about a lot. I am hoping to become the Britannica of career book for kids. So we have a number of books to go. But currently we have 6 career books for kids in the Andrew Learns About series. And they are Andrew Learns About Actors, Teachers, Lawyers, Engineers, Scientists, and most recently, Chefs.
Ooh, okay. I like the chef one. I'm married to a chef by trade.
Awesome. So you got to get that one.
Yes.
And I heard, so guys, we met through my friend's husband works with Genesis. And so that's their favorite book. That's what his wife,
Really?
yeah. She was like, this is by far my favorite Andrew book. I was like,
Okay.
what?
I definitely have to check that out about chefs. So I know you have how many kids? 2 kids? Okay, so is your other kid going to be making a debut in the book world?
So not by name but by likeness. So she has 2 books that are inspired by her. So the first one that was, well, maybe 3. The first one that was inspired by her was I Have 10 Toes, Thank You, Jesus. And so that is a basic concept book where it teaches kids or introduces kids to their body parts, as far as feet, hands, shoulders, their body parts, senses, and numbers 1 to 10, 1, 2, and 10. And what I just found out, because my mom teaches her during the day, is that they've used it as a sight word book. And I was like, oh, it's kind of sight word book, go me. So anyway, so that was the first book that she really inspired, because when she was an infant, I used to say to her as I'm getting her dressed, like I'm putting the shirt over her head, and I'd be like, you have 1 head, and then like you have 2 arms. And so as I was doing that, it started like expanding to like, you have 1 head, your head thinks, ooh. And then that started expanding to you have 1 head, your head thinks, thank you, Jesus, because he introduced like Jesus to them in gratitude. And so I made that into a cute little book. And I had that book translated to Spanish and released I Have 10 Toes, the bilingual version, non-Christian. And so that has done phenomenal. It's bought in bulk by preschools, and now I understand why. But that has done phenomenal. And then the other book that she recently inspired, or the character, is the Andrew Learns About Engineers. That red cover over here is like the best selling of the Andrew series currently. It has been recognized a million times over. And I decided to do a girl version. And so the name is Ashley because those books rhyme and I didn't want to throw off the rhyme. But Ashley Learns About Engineers, but the likeness of the character is my little girl.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Okay, so hold on. I had to pause. Do you hear any background noise? Do you hear that? Wait, hold on. Now I can't hear you.
I muted myself. I don't hear any background noise, but you're back to being like choppy.
Okay, that's why I like muted it because I was like hearing an echo and I didn't want it to like come across the recording as choppy. Okay, are we good now? It's still choppy?
Yes, I keep muting myself.
Okay,
Yes.
hold on. Hold on. I think my uncle's streaming downstairs. Let me shout down.
Oh.
Okay. Uncle Bruno, can you pause really quick because I'm recording something? Okay, thank you. Okay, let me dive back in. Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay, let me.
Moving.
Okay. So this is just fire. So Ashley's going to be the girl version for the engineers. So
yes, version.
Okay. So is it going along the lines of STEAM versus STEM? Because I feel like with STEAM, we've thrown the arts there, whereas STEM, it's just the science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. But I was like, what about those arts? art lovers out there.
Exactly. So that's so funny you said that because I'm thinking for the upcoming holiday season, I'm going to have a bundle box for STEAM. And so it will include actors, scientists, engineers, and chefs. Because
Okay.
chefs, did y'all know, is a STEM job.
Yes, it is. And some people forget because they create different things. So that's like the artistic thing. They use chemistry, whether they're
Yes.
like building like different mixtures or spices or like their oils. And y'all, I am not a cook in the kitchen. My husband did not marry me to cook. So that's all his ministries that the Lord gave him. I'm gonna stay in my lane over here. But I am learning so I can be self-sufficient since I'm gonna be a mama of two soon. So but I did want to jump back really quick because you said your daughter is inspired by some of the books, but her name is not mentioned. Is there a specific reason why her name is not mentioned?
Because she has a beautiful name that has 4 syllables like her mom. Well, 4 syllables. So it's Tatiana.
Uh-huh.
And so it doesn't end. So yeah, it just threw off the rhyme scheme. And then I want to call her Tati because I'm like, that's not her name or a name. Like that's a nickname that we call her for short. And
Uh-huh.
so after wrestling with myself about it, I said, you know what? It's gonna have to just be Ashley. We're gonna make it Ashley and we're gonna be okay with that. So yeah, that's why.
Okay.
Yes, too many syllables.
So A squared then, Andrew and Ashley.
Yes.
Okay, so I love it. I love how they're all part of the legacy and the book building and all of this stuff. I'm gonna ask you about collaboration because collaborations and synergies is so important, especially in the work that you're doing, as well as in the author world. And I'm not sure if you're familiar with Gracie's Corner.
Mhm.
Have you ever thought about collaborating with some of the other authors out there, and maybe getting some songs to go with the book or whatnot, or having some Andrew toys out there?
That's really cool. So collaborate with other authors. We do that frequently. Having making up a song, that's something that has been talked about, but I haven't taken that up as part of my ministry yet. And as far as products, I do have products. They're not toys because one, you don't want to deal with the safety issues of a child choking on your toy. But I have like the posters you see, I have t-shirts, I have greeting cards, I have puzzles, I have some other stuff. So it has expanded into products, just not toys per se, unless you consider a puzzle a toy, which I would argue.
Yeah, I think so because it gets them into that sensory feeling and they could do it with their hands or whatnot. And cognitive learning and all that. It could be a toy, yeah,
Yeah,
depending on your perspective.
yeah.
Yeah. And the other reason why I asked is because there's a lady that I interviewed on my show who has her book launch going out called Suit Up with Shay.
Yes, know
Yeah,
her.
Sharon, you know her?
I know. I don't know if she remembers meeting me, but we've met before, and I follow her on LinkedIn. So,
Yeah, Sharon McDougal, she is like phenomenal. And when I tell you, when I heard her story, I'm like, oh, this is nice. That's why I was like, oh, it's so cool to like connect other authors with each other because you never know like what type of collab you could come up with. And now that Andrew has all these careers, and I know you have another book launch coming up soon, we're gonna get to that.
mhm.
Have you thought about introducing Andrew to anything within the healthcare space?
Of course. And I'm having people say, when are you going to teach Andrew or he's going to learn about doctors? And I'm like, it's coming, people. So somewhere down in the series, because remember, I need at least 26 of them to be the Britannica. So it's going to come. Like I said, I have doctors asking or people who just think about it. Because when you think about careers, a lot of people think about lawyers and doctors. You're going to be one or the other. So doctors will come along one day, but my next one I'm working on is Andrew learns about architects. So that's still in STEM steam, but that's the one that I've been inspired to do, start on.
Okay, so and is there anything that Andrew's asking you about recently that he's like, oh, mommy, tell me about this career?
Yeah, he asked about barbers recently because he's reading JD and the Great Barber Battle. That
Uh-huh.
book. So he was like, are you going to do what Andrew learns about barbers? And I'm like, I could possibly, you know.
Oh yeah, because I'm telling you, these barbers are making racks out here. Because when my
Yes.
husband told me how much he pays for a haircut, I'm like, what?
Exactly.
I'm like, oh, okay. So that's pretty cool. I just love hearing about the Andrew series, and I can't wait till you have the bundle package coming out because I think that will be a really great gift for anyone that has like a kid birthday party or maybe the first library because someone gifted me some books when I first had my daughter to build like her first library collection. I thought that was so cool. They gave me like the books about ABCs, kindness, and some it was like a little book kit. I was like, oh, this is so cool. And then my other girlfriend introduced me to like some Black author books, and one of the books was Skin Like Mine
Yep.
or Hair Like Mine. And I was like, oh, this is really neat. Because I actually had no idea. Um, so outside of that, let's dive into your special project that is launching. I want you to hold that up for the audience to see.
All right. Now it
Okay.
has this gray bar that will not be on the book. So this is called a proof copy. This is the copy that authors receive so they can review their book before it's made available for purchase. So if you were to buy this, it would not have that bar across it. But yes, so this book is called The Three Pigs versus the Wolf. So it is a classic fairy tale with a legal twist. Okay. And so I came up with this because I was like, I've read books or fairy tales that had a science twist. And I was like, man, that concept is so cool. I wish I could do something like that, but I don't know science like that. But they would do like, I don't know, like debunking fairy tales or something like that. But they would just add like the science component to the fairy tale. I was like, I want to do something like that. So years after coming across books like that, I was walking up the stairs of my house, going to do something, and I said, oh, I can do court. I can make it legal. That would be so cool. What would happen if the three pigs sued the wolf for blowing out their house? I'm like running over to my husband, like, what do you think? And he's like in the middle of something. So he's like, oh. But now he's like, man, this is going to be so good. So anyway, so that's how this came about. And I created this character. She's an owl. Her name is Olivia Odemeyer, which is a nod to our first Hispanic Supreme Court Justice, Sonia Sotomayor. And she is young. I mean, it's the forest. So she's young, but what I wanted to do with her was make her relatable in the sense that she's not perfect. So they all trust her and trust her judgment, obviously, because she's the judge and they appointed her to be the judge. But she doubts herself a lot. And so kids get to learn how she overcomes her self doubt and how, although she's not perfect, people still trust her and believe in her decision making. So this is also teaching critical thinking skills, but not in a you're learning critical thinking, but as evidence is being presented, of course, kids can like follow along and you can ask them like, well, what do you think at this point? What do you think about this point? Like I did with my son. I also have, in addition to the judge, he's not pictured on the cover, but I have a lawyer. So the wolf is represented by a coyote, Carl Coyote, who, by the way, is my favorite character, but my son hates that character. And he hates them because, as we've known forever, what's been taught to us is that the three pigs are innocent and the wolf is bad. He's big, bad, and guilty, right? And so I wanted to make sure, even with the title, that we don't give any presumptions of who is like victim and who is not a victim. So that's why they're just pigs. They're not little, they're just pigs. And this is why they're a wolf. It's not a big bad wolf. Because I wanted to get rid of those assumptions or presumptions that come with that type of adjectives or descriptions. So anywho, so he is upset with Carl Coyote because Carl is like a zealous advocate for his client. And I'm like, that's what you do. You have to defend when you're a lawyer sometimes. And he's like, but I don't like it because he blew down the houses. I'm like, but did he? So the whole case is trying to figure out if the wolf blew down the straw and stick houses on purpose. That's what it is. So, the ending, I think, is satisfying. Has some twists and turns throughout, but whoever gets it, I think they will really enjoy it. And I'm just can't wait to continue the series.
And I love,
Sorry.
no, my bad. You know what I love about how you took away like the assumptions and the preconceived notions from like what we would see like the true characters is because it also promotes diversity, equity, inclusion. So it's also leveling the playing field, because sometimes when we look at people from the outside, we already have these biases and these non-judgment based on like the type of environment that, you know, we were raised in, or the type of environment we work in. But whenever you take those blinders off, then you begin to see an individual for who they are, and that's going beyond the surface level. And I feel like we really have to like work on that as individuals. And I feel like guilty of that myself, because sometimes we're so conditioned to thinking a certain way and doing things a certain way. But whenever you see things from a different vantage point, then you're really seeing the holistic picture of things. So big kudos to you. And then just to also get that into the younger kids, because they're already so influenced by social media, influenced by their peers or whatnot, but getting them to really peel back that layer of the onion and take away those preconceived notions and judgments is just incredible.
Yes, thank you so much. And you said it probably better than I could. But yeah, so it is a transitional or beginner chapter book. There are 8 chapters, I want to say, but I don't know if y'all can see it because of my background. And it has black and white pictures throughout, but not every page. And then the words you see, they're spaced out, but it's still words, but not intimidating for someone who's like, I don't want picture books anymore. I think I'm old enough to not be in picture books because I want more words, but I don't need too many words. Because what happens is, when I go to vending events, people will stop by and they see my picture books because I have 25 picture books. So they see my picture books and they're like, oh my gosh, these are so beautiful. But my son is reading, what's that popular book series? My son loves it too. Not Captain Underpants, but the other one that is written by the same people. Dog Man, Dog Man. And so I'm like, yeah, I don't have anything with that many words. I have The Night the Lights Went Out that has more words than the other picture books. So I really wanted to fill that gap, not only within my products, but within the industry as well. There's a gap when it comes to beginner or transitional chapter books. And so, yeah, I'm just really excited. I think it's funny. My son thinks it's funny, more important. And my mom, she was reading it and she was cracking up at someone. I'm like, what you laughing at? Oh, yeah, okay, okay. But like you said, it teaches about checking your biases, being objective, hearing both sides, figuring out what's fair, and giving people an opportunity to show you who they are. And it's not a spoiler, but that's one of the wolf's points. Like, I am who I am, that's true, but y'all already think y'all know me before like I even said anything, and that's not fair.
Yes. And I love that. Another thing I was going to ask too is, because I know kids learn differently. Do you have any books that are already out or that you're going to put out to help those kids that are on the spectrum?
Oh my goodness, I had a podcast earlier this week that asked about autism or kids that's autistic or neurodiverse. And I said, I don't have enough experience or knowledge in that area to really, have a response, because they was asking me about unconscious bias.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, I don't have enough experience in that area or knowledge in that area to really say much about it. And so I try to write about what I know about and what I'm comfortable about, so I can hopefully not be offensive. And I don't know how to write. There's authors who do write for neurodiverse kids specifically. And that's because they either have training in it or they have a child or they themselves. But I don't have that. And I'll just leave space for them to do what they do, because obviously it's needed.
Okay, perfect. And thank you for answering that. Only because I have some friends who have kids that are high functioning and on the spectrum. And sometimes it's hard to find different gifts to give those kids, because you never know what could be triggering. But then I feel like reading is something that we all could advance at and etc. And that's why I was asking that.
I'm going to send you, and I hope I don't forget, but after this, I'm going to send you the recommendation of
Okay.
a book. I can't think of the name of the book, otherwise I would say it out loud right now. But I'll send you that book and just the author, because I think she has about 2 or 3 titles that's for kids, because her kid is neurodiverse.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for sending those. And then now I want to throw in some audibles here, because we're getting ready to wind down. And I want to ask you to share something with the Gemster community that I may not have asked you about, whether it relates to the books that you currently have on the market, the work that you're doing in corporate America, or hell, what's next on the horizon for Tiffany?
Yes. So I love the overlap. I didn't see the intersection, shall I say, of what I do in my day job, if you will, and what I do in my writing. So when I first started writing, as you've come to know, it was Andrew Learns About, and that's my son's name and his likeness. I was not making a statement. I was just writing about what I knew and what was personal to me. And so as I continued on with my 10th book, 11th book, 12th book, and had these Black characters on my covers, I didn't realize, well, I realized by then, but when I had my second book, I didn't realize I was making a statement. I thought I was just putting my son on a book. It wasn't until I saw the statistics. So similar to what you read in my bio, which is when I saw this the daunting statistics about the lack of diversity in the legal field, when I saw the daunting statistics about the lack of diversity in the kid literature segment, I was like, I got to do something about this. And so I really like that I'm doing my part. I feel like I'm doing my part, not only in my job as an equal opportunity professional, but also in the kid lit space, making products and materials that kids can see themselves reflected in, and not just for Black kids, because that needs to be dispelled. Just because a book has a Black child or a character on it doesn't mean it's only for Black people. The things I talk about, minus one book, which is called Black Boy Hair Joy, is universal. We talked about the careers, we talk about seasons, we talk about honesty, we talk about a lot of different universal topics. And it just so happens that they have Black characters in it. I mean, it doesn't, it's intentional, but they have Black characters, but it's a universal book for anybody. And we have to get over the idea that if it's a book that bears a white person or a white child, then it's for everybody, but the converse is not true. And we also got to get over that if the book bears a Black boy, then it's only for Black boys. And I've heard that over and over and over. And I was very hesitant to do a girl version of Engineers for that purpose, because I said our Black boys need to have literature that reflects their Black faces, and everybody needs to read it just like they read things that have girls splattered all over it. So anyway, so yeah, I just like to be the intersection at diversity in Kid Lit.
I absolutely love that because it's definitely making a change out there, because there's often times where Black or African American boys or baby boys in the BIPOC community do not have someone that they could look up to, because maybe they're raised by a single mother or they come from a broken family. So the world starts raising them versus, them really having a good foundation to go on. So if we get these in the hands of the younger generation and really start to fuel them in a positive way, then what is our society going to look like? Because they are our future generations and the next leaders. So we can each do our part today by making an imprint that's going to drive an impact for future generations to come. So whenever you see yourself and you think about not just what you're doing on your day-to-day job, but you see yourself with the other skill sets that you have, what can you do to elaborate on them and pour back into the community that you live in and the people around you, to help those who are raising up children, to help maybe your grandchildren that are coming along, or the neighbor who has a kid down the road, or whatever the case may be. Just think about it from that vantage point. Another thing I want to give you a chance to share is how people could connect with you, Tiffany, and support you. Like, where do you hang out on social media, and what's your website?
My website is sugarcookiebooks.com. So the name of my publishing imprints, where I publish all my books, is Sugar Cookie Books. So the website is sugarcookiebooks.com. I'm on Instagram, Facebook at Sugar Cookie Books. I'm on Pinterest at Sugar Cookie Books. I'm on LinkedIn at my name, but but those are that's where I hang out.
Okay. And then another thing. So Sugar Cookie Books, is that self-publishing or like a publishing house?
It is my self-publishing house. Yeah.
Nice. Okay. I love that. So you're putting it out there. You don't have nobody trying to tell you what to do. It's all Tiffany's stuff.
Yep.
Okay. And then the last thing here for the Gemsters. So I want you to think about when you were a little girl and you kept hearing everybody tell you, oh, you're going to be a lawyer when you grow up. What are you telling your children Andrew and Tatiana about their career, or are you letting them come into their own?
Both, I think. So with the career books, I am exposing them to different careers as early as I can, which is needed, especially in our Black communities, especially as we're still overcoming becoming first. We're in 2024 and we're still the first to do XYZ. So they can be anything they want to be, but I also want to know that can include being an engineer where there's a lack of Black boys and definitely a lack of Black girls in STEM or engineers. They could be a scientist. My son, he wanted to be a paleontologist when he was 4 years old to 5 years old to 6 years old. And now I think he's over it now. But that they can be anything, no matter who's already dominating the field or not. And so right now, my son really loves to draw. And I'm like, he'll probably, fall into architecture. But I don't know. But I'm going to make a book and he can see if he likes it or whatever. And as far as the other one, she's three. She's three, but she's just gonna be a boss chick. Whatever, she's gonna be a boss chick, doing whatever she pleases.
I love it. And last but not least, I always like to give the guests and the community homework to do, because what good is listening to the segment if they don't have homework to follow up and just take what they heard and apply it. So what is your call to action for the Gemsters today?
The call to action is support Black books. It doesn't just have to be mine, but that'd be nice. But support Black books, and support looks like, even if you are like, I don't have a child that age, you can still either buy and donate, or you can leave positive reviews on Amazon or people's websites. You can also share. Word of mouth is very important, especially when you're a small business like myself. And also just overcoming the, again, perception that if a book has a character that is minority or Black specifically, or a boy, that means only for that particular group. No. So we need your help with that. We really appreciate that. And that is my call to action.
Perfect. And there you heard it, folks. You just heard Tiffany Obeng here on GEMS podcast. Make sure you follow and subscribe to the podcast. We're on 40 plus audio platforms, and the video component is housed on YouTube. All you have to type in is GEMS, GEMS, with Genesis Amaris Kemp. Make sure you leave the podcast a review. Let me know what topics you want to hear, what you like, what you don't like, because feedback is a gift. I will package it up in a bow and learn from you. And until next time, I wish you all the best. Signing out with peace, love, and lots of blessings. And remember, bet on yourself, because the minute that you stop betting on yourself is the minute that you start dying a little bit, because you are not tapping into your full potential. So be who you were set out to be and not what the world wants you to be. You are uniquely created for such a time as this. So you need to take ownership of yourself and walk in with your head held up high and authority, like you own where you are. So take that into heart and consideration and give yourself a big hug, because no one is going to love you like you. Signing out, Genesis Amaris Kemp and Tiffany Obeng.